Hi guys, it's Yaya here. This is my first time coming to you guys from this type of setting, this type of setup. I came today, as you may have seen from the title and the thumbnail, to talk about heated rivalry. In case you don't know, for the past month, I've been on a heated rivalry kick ever since basically the end of finals. I actually got into it the week of finals, and I think that was like the worst decision probably I've ever made ever, but like, it's okay. It's okay because I loved it and I'm super happy, I think. And I just want to share that happiness with you guys. To all my friends who maybe hear me talk about it all the time and don't know what's going on, I'm here to explain it to you, okay? But I think you should still watch it. Please watch it. But maybe this will help you, I don't know, get into it more. Now that you know all of the context, I'm gonna try to keep this as a one-parter, but if it turns into a two-parter, guys, you know I really like this show, okay? Okay, come on, give me a break, okay? So let's get to yabbing. Okay. I wrote notes. It's that deep, guys. I promise you, it's really that deep. Y'all, I forgot to explain the entire meaning of the show. This show is a hockey gay romance, in case you missed that part. Mulama, it's LGBTQ+, it's gay, it's all of those things. So if you're not comfortable with that, maybe like, this isn't for you. Now that we got that out the way, now we can start. So the show starts off outside of this hockey arena building of the International Prospect Cups, December 2008. We have one of our main characters, Ilya Rozanov, outside trying to light his cigarette, okay? And then we have our second main character, Shane Hollander. He comes in and he's like, hey. He basically introduces himself to Ilya, you know, kind of trying to have small talk. It's kind of awkward, as most first meetings with someone that you don't know, and also when you don't speak the language, you know, it's a little awkward, and that's okay. You know, Shane is trying to be nice, so he's about to make his exit, and then before he leaves, Ilya's like, you will not be so nice when we beat you. And Shane's like, not gonna happen. Well, it kind of happens. And as they're playing, as they're practicing, I guess, I think the week before whatever game happens, this cup happens, there are these announcers from this podcast called Man in the Crease. They kind of serve as our narrators, in a sense, in a weird sense. They're explaining to us some of Shane and Ilya's traits. So for Shane, they're like, he's Canadian, you know, he has a high hockey IQ, you know, he's not very sociable, but you know, like he be getting the job done. And then for Ilya, they're like, he's a strong player, he's Russian, he gets under people's skin, you know, trash talk, blah 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 blah. And that's kind of our first introduction to their differences of personalities, you know, the juxtaposition of it all, how they're kind of opposites, and we can see how like the rivalry can be pinned in fans' brains. So the next week after the initial introduction happened, they play against each other, and Ilya's team wins and Shane's team loses. I can't lie, dude. And Shane's pretty upset. And then as they're doing their little, you know, friendly handshakes, Ilya's like, see you at the draft. And then from there, we have our first, I guess, major time skip, which is 6 months later in Los Angeles, California, at the drafts, where Ilya is first picked in the drafts and Shane is second picked in the drafts. And then there's a third guy we don't really care. I can't lie to you, I don't know who that man is. They're doing business talk now. Shane is with his mom and she's talking with, I guess, the team that picked him, which is the Montreal Metros, I believe. You know, they're talking, they're like, you know, Shane, it's so good to have you. You're Asian American, you know, you're bringing so much to the team with your Asian Americanness. Thank you. But of course he's very talented, but like that's what that conversation was giving. It was like, okay. And then we have upstairs Ilya and his dad, and Ilya's dad is talking with I guess the Boston Bears. The Boston Bears that picked him, and Ilya's dad is like, you know, like he can be lazy, but blah 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 blah. And then Ilya's like, you know, but I'm gonna work really hard for you guys though. And then, you know, his dad whispers to him in Russian, don't talk while I'm talking, basically. Like, baby, don't talk when I don't tell you to talk, okay? Is basically what he's saying. And then that was like the first little sign that we got, like, oh, I'm scared of Ilya's dad. I think me and Ilya's dad will not get along well together, because what was that? But moving on. And then later that night, Shane, poor old Shane, he can't sleep. So he's like, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna go do a cheeky little workout. You know what I mean? He's gonna do a cheeky little workout in the hotel's gym. Okay? So he goes to the gym. He's riding on the bicycle. Ooh, 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 ooh. Someone comes in the room, but of course, Shane, he has his headphones in, so he can't hear no one coming in the room. Someone comes in, starts going on right next to him. Shane looks up and he sees Ilya. He's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, okay. And then, like, slowly, they start low-key racing. They racing. They're going, and they're going till they can't no more. Okay? And baby, that scene, the tension in that scene, oh my gosh. Honestly, peak. So after that, they're tired. They get on the floor and they're like, that was crazy. They're like, Ilya's like, was today everything you ever dreamed of? And Shane's like, almost. Like, I didn't get first place, but and it was like, oops, sorry. Not really. And Shane's like, no, you're not sorry. And then after this little conversation, Ilya hands Shane his water bottle, because like, you must be thirsty. Like you're like, here, come take this. And Shane's like, bro, like, nah. It was like, baby, Shane takes it, because I'm thirsty, so why wouldn't I drink, right? So he's drinking. Ilya says more. So he drinks more, and I'm like, oh, it's that kind of party. Okay. I'm peeping. I get it now. I wasn't privy to this information before, but now I'm understanding. There's layers to this. You're shaking the water in my face. I'm like, nah, you're like, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna drink it. And you say more, and I'm gonna drink some more, because I do what fun shit tells me to. What can I say? But that's okay, because after the scene ends, it's another time skip. 6 months later, we're at the International Prospect Cup again. I don't know. Don't ask me how it works. But we're at this game again, okay? It's 6 months later. We see Ilya in his hotel room. His dad and his brother calling. His dad calling, being like, bruh, you're whack. His brother calling like, you're whack. Give me some money. Ilya's team playing against Shane's team. Shane's team wins. Shane's like, see you in October, buddy. The next time they see each other is 6 months later at a video shoot. They doing a little video shoot, because they got shmoney now. Like, they're important now. Okay, so they're doing this little face off, cool type little photo shoot, little video shoot thing, where they gotta skate towards each other and then put their hockey sticks up. Right? They slowly start to get to giggling, because what do you have us doing right now? Why are we doing this 5 times in a row? Like, and then eventually the director's like, bro, just cut it. Okay, we're done. Ilya's like, so when did they tell you that we were gonna be shooting together? And Shane's like a couple of days ago. When did they tell you? And it was like, baby, it was my idea. And Shane's like, what? And then after this, a little while later, they're taking showers, because they're sweaty from doing their solo shots, doing shots together, blah blah blah. It's time to take a shower. It's time to take a shower. Okay, so Shane's in the shower. He, lathering like I don't see no soap, but I think he lathering up. I don't know what he's doing. And then Ilya comes in, because it's a communal type of shower. I guess that's what sports players have. That's the type of bathrooms that they're given. I don't know. There's no barriers anywhere. It's just pure tile and shower head. It's out in the open, okay? I guess they're used to it, so like Shane not really thinking much of it. He's like, okay. But Shane's staring a little bit too long for me. I'm like, maybe Shane, like, why you low-key a peeping Tom right now? But that's okay, because Ilya gonna stare 10 times harder. Like, Ilya looking, like, Ilya not even looking him up and down. Shane's looking Ilya up and down. Ilya's looking Shane dead in his eyeballs. Like, oh, I didn't know it was that kind of party. I didn't know it was that kind of party at all. And so Shane, you know, he's like, Brett, like, get off. Basically, what he said. He said, get off. And so Ilya, why he actually started getting himself off? And Shane's like, and you would think he'd be more put off. He just says, not here. And then he turns off the shower, gets out. Ilya be like, like, oh, are we not going to talk about okay. And then once they're back in the locker room, Shane, you know, he's already clothed, but, you know, he's putting on his shoes, he's fumbling with his shoes, and he's like, you know, we can just forget about that. We can just forget that ever even happened, you know. And it was like, is that what you want? Shane's like, sure. Like, okay, sure. Like, I guess that's what I want to do. I want that. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. And it was like, you're such a liar. Like, and Shane's like, what are you even talking about? Then Ilya walks up to him, you know, still just towel around his waist. Shane fully clothed, Ilya just towel around his waist, looking like, oh, Shane, I would fold. Me personally, I'm folding. Shane, he's looking at him, he's like, what? Like, what do you want? Ilya is like, what room are you in? 1410. Why? Why? Like, maybe you told him your room number before you asked questions. So Ilya's like, if I come by your door? She's like, I might open. It's like, I might not. Like, two can play at that game. What you thought this was? So Ilya comes to Shane's room after a very awkward interaction with Shane's mom in the elevator. As Shane is waiting for Ilya, you know, to come up, he in a suit. He fiddling with the lights. He fiddling with the TV. It's like, baby, just sit down, baby. It's okay. You don't have to do this. You can just sit down. It's okay. Okay, like, you can sit down. So he lets Ilya into the room, and it was like, hey, hey. And Shane's like, so, you know, I you know, and it was like, bro, just shut that shit up. And then start kissing him, but stop making on me, like, and Shane's like, baby, this is such a bad idea. And Ilya, like, he don't gaff, like, he really don't gaff. I'm gonna be honest. So after this, you know, they kissing, baby. Shane, everyone, they basically, okay? I'm not gonna explain more for you. Fill in the blank, okay? Also, for maybe some extra context, when they're having their little freaknik time, Shane likes to fold his pants, and Ilya thinks that's really cute. Also, Shane is on the spectrum just a little bit, which is a fun little thank you. 3 months later, just going back to their lives, like, just, you know, the tension's still there. It never died. Ilya's still having problems with his family. You know, his brother calls asking for 20K. 2020, whatever he said. I don't know what that is in Russian, but he's asking for 20K. Ilya's like, are you mad? Like, are you mad, fam? Like, what's going on? I'm not giving you 20K. And his brother's like, bro, give me 20K. And it was like, bro, fine, I'll give you 20K. I'm like, we just giving 20K out to people? Like, what does he need 20K for? And then Ilya's asking about his dad. He's like, bro, like, dad asked me for bread. Like, mind you, I'm in America. This dude is in Russia. Why is he asking me for bread? And his brother's like, I don't know, he's just stupid. Okay, whatever, dude. Now we're 4 months later. We're at the All-Star game in Nashville. Ilya and Shane, they're doing this little press conference. The reporters are asking hella questions. And this is kind of the first time that we really see Ilya's English is not, like, all the way up there. Like, his English is good, but it's not the best ever. So the reporters are asking him questions, and he's like, and then Shane's like, well, I'll take it from there. He's tapping Ilya's foot, you know, just to make sure, like, is it okay if I answer this question for you, you know? And then Ilya's like, yeah. And so Shane answers the questions like, you know, blah 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 blah, hockey. And they're like, Ilya, do you agree? And Ilya's like, yeah. What did he say? At said All-Star game, the actual game, not the conference, they're playing against each other, but you know, like they're on benches, so they can kind of talk to each other, you know, just little like, you know, I guess for like crap talking, but you know, they're using it for ulterior motives. Like Ellie's like, you know, what was you up to last night? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then Ellie gets up, skates past him, and is like, 1, 2, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2, 1, and skates away. Mind you, right next to Shane Hollander is Scott Hunter. And if you don't know Scott Hunter, you know, just keep that, hold that. Let's pocket that. Anyway, Scott Hunter's right next to him, was like, oh my God, what was y'all talking about? And Shane's like, we were talking crap, you know, the usual, the talking crap. And Scott's like, yeah, you know, it's crazy because like I'm right next to him, so like crazy. I'm in the room right next to him, like crazy, right? Like that's crazy. I'm in the room right next to him, so yeah, I'm in the room right next to him, so you know that's crazy. And so Shane's like, so later that night, when Ilya invites Shane to his room, Shane comes up and it's like, and Ilya opens the door and Shane busts in, and it's like, bro, you running from the police? Like, what? You like, is someone chasing you? And Shane's like, I don't know why you had me in that random. Oh wait, you know we're gonna get caught. You know, like they're gonna get us. And then he started macking on Ilya. So it's like, okay, so we was talking crap for what? Like, you was complaining for what? I get it. You're like a little paranoid. Like you're like, oh my gosh, but then you gonna start macking on him immediately. Like, oh, baby, it's okay. It's okay. So, you know, after they do their little, you know, the little thing together, you know what I mean? They make plans to meet in their game when they have a game in Montreal, which is where Shane lives. So Ilya's like, we're gonna meet at your place, and Shane's like, okay. Before Shane leaves, Shane's like, so like, how are we, like, so how was, and then and then Ilya is like, bro, just give me your phone, dude, just give me your phone, and puts in their, you know, gives each other their numbers and puts in the contact Jane and Lily. Ilya's obviously Lily and Shane's obviously Jane, you know what I mean? So that's a cute little bit in it. 2 weeks later, when they're supposed to meet, basically Ilya's flight gets canceled and Ilya's team cannot play against Shane's team, so therefore they are not gonna crack. Shane seems bummed. Ilya also seems bummed, and then he goes home just to find his little Russian fine shit is at his place. Mind you, this is not really his. It's more like his best friend who just so happens to be fine shit. You know what I mean? You know, they sometimes, and then sometimes they're best friends. Like sometimes we're like, they're not lovers, but they have sex sometimes, and then sometimes they're besties. Okay? Basically, she surprises him at home, and that shows us that maybe Ilya is bisexual. 4 months later in Las Vegas, Shane wins Rookie of the Year at the Major League Hockey, MLH Awards, okay? So, baby, he's really big balling right now. Everyone's like, baby, you the best, UT. Scott Hunter, again. Here he go again. He like, ooh, where your boy at? And Shane's like, what? I'm like, what? And Scott's like, your boy? Ilya? And Shane's like, oh yeah, he's, I don't know, that's not my, like, and Scott's like, yeah, no, like, I just, cause you guys are always, and you know, and Shane's like, yeah. So this actually makes Shane really like deep, like, oh, where's Ilya at? So he really looking for Ilya like throughout the party. Something tells him to go to the patio. So he goes to the patio and he spots Ilya. He's like, well, hey. It's just like, Ilya not in the mood basically. And Shane's trying to have this small talk. It was like, bruh, like not right now. And Shane, he's low-key starts spazzing because, baby, you win all the time. Now the one time I win, you want to talk crap, and you don't want to support me. Like, why can't you be sportsman-like when I win? And Ilya's like, not everything's about you, Hollander. Not everything's about you, dude. Okay, so just keep it pushing. I'ma keep it pushing. Blase, right? She's like, bro, whatever. He gets further away from Ilya. He's like, the freaking cornbread. How cornbread from Sinner. He was like asking for money like this. Shane does a little handshake thing like this, like, well, like, just wanna eventually, like, like, irritated. Go kiss the man. Like, please go kiss the man. And Ilya comes up to him and kisses him. Cause after they finish kissing, bro, like, Shane's like, bro, like, bro, chill out, bro. We in public, bro. Chill out. And walks off. Cause what? And that's the end of episode 1. Well, guys, like, that was heavy, right? Wasn't that heavy? I'm tired. Well, time for episode 2. Episode 2 is also just another time skip, okay? So we got Montreal and Moscow, right? We got Ilya in Moscow, Shane in Montreal. It's the summer of 2011. They're still texting. They're little text buddies or whatever. They be texting when they be texting. And like, really, like Ilya's text, they be vulgar. I be like, who taught you that? Like, he stays saying he finna come back for that, and I really don't know how to feel about that. Like, whoa, dude. In 2013, we find out that Ilya is 9 inches. And then also in the spring of 2013, we also find out that Ilya is again coming back for that eye, and we have to like set up a secret protective service for Shane's eye. Like, after one of their games, they're in Montreal, so obviously Ilya's finna meet up with Shane, his little sneaky link. Why Shane sent him the Addy to the middle of nowhere back alley? Like, what? And Ilya's honestly scared. And he's like, are you going to murder me? Like, you murder me? Like, maybe. I'm scared. And Shane's like, bro, just come in, bro. Bro, come in. Shane be really paranoid. And that's okay, but it's just, Well, so today was the day that Shane really got his butt taken, and it was honestly such a beautiful sight to see that, like, I can't even be mad. Like, dude, you got it taken in this. Mind you, why did Shane buy an entire building just so he could with Ilya Rozanov? Like, you couldn't just take him back to your penthouse and then freak it. You had to buy a whole new penthouse just to freak him, that you don't even use, by the way. But like, it's kind of like beautiful. Shane's talking about how they're gonna have like the games in Russia, because the Olympics, and Shane's asking about his parents, and it's like whatever. Whatever. And so we're just gonna skip to those winter games, the Sochi Olympics in the winter of 2014, okay? We honestly don't have much of interactions here. All we have is Scott and his teammate, like I said, Scott Hunter again. Scott and his teammate talking to Shane, and Scott's teammate, Bonnie, I think his name is like, gay people, like, they're maybe in Russia, it's hard to be gay, so yeah, we gotta support the figure skaters, the male figure skaters, because, well, gay in Russia, they don't mix. So that basically, sets up the worry for Shane, and Shane's like, oh my gosh, I'm worried about my man. So as they're watching the male figure skaters, one of which is Shane's lovely friend, and they're like, oh my god, Shane, your friend ate the stage up. And Shane's like, yes, of course. And he looks up and he sees Ilya Rozanov. Oh my gosh, yes. So he sees his man. So he's like, guys, I'll be right back. And he goes up and goes to talk to Ilya. Him and Ilya are not close by any, like, they're like talking from so far away, literally miles apart, basically. And Shane's like, so, like, you good, dude? Like, you good, dude? Like, are you cool? Are you safe? Like, basically just trying to figure out, like, the safety measures if he needs to take any. Like, good, man? And basically it's like, bro, get on my face, 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 get on my face. And she's like, that's mean. That's not nice. And basically they kind of go no contact for a little bit there after that, because I actually don't know why. Ilya was just in a mood, so he's like, I'm going no contact with fine shit, because who gonna stop me? While they're in Russia, okay, editing Yaya here, I forgot to add the fact that Ilya and his dad had a whole entire conversation where basically Ilya's dad was saying, oh, you need to fix your tie, who did this, your mom? And Ilya was like, baby, mama's dead. And so he was like, oh, and this kind of tells us that Ilya's dad is suffering with dementia. Or while Ilya is in Russia, he's at this little fancy gala with Svetlana, her dad, and his dad, and you know how he feels about his dad. And Svetlana comes and saves him from, I guess, a boring conversation, and takes him to the bathroom. And he's like, oh, I brought you a surprise. And it's this guy named Sasha. And Sasha is doing lines. And I'm like, okay, that's heavy. This whole interaction basically hints at them having prior, relations with each other. Ilya's not really into it no more. I can't lie. He's like, bro, get on my face. And Sasha's like, I just want to be good to you, baby. Ooh. And Ilya's like, get on my face. And it's like on his phone. And so Sasha, knowing his self-worth, is like, whatever, bye. Like, bye, whatever, dude. Whatever. Forget you, dude. So spring of the 2014, Shane's team did not make it to the cups, I guess. And so during the actual cups, he watches Ilya's team play at Hayden's house, from the couch. Guys, this scene was so beautiful. As Ilya won, he held up the freaking cup, the trophy, and was like, this is for you, mama, in Russian. And it was beautiful, and everyone loved it, and it was amazing. And honestly, Shane looked so happy from where he was sitting, because you know what? I like seeing my man happy too. So we're at the summer of 2014 at the Major League Hockey Awards again, and Shane's pacing back and forth. He's pacing back and forth. He's like, bro, where is this dude? And then Ilya comes up right behind him, and he's like, bro, where have you been? We're going in 5 seconds. And Ilya's like, no, 25 seconds. And then they have to go on, and it was actually 5 seconds, because what are you talking about? They're having their little speech, and where they basically have to act buddy because the award is for the most companionship, I think, or the most sportsmanlike ship. I don't know what word that is. And Ilya's like, oh my gosh, let's take a picture together. Oh yes. And he's actually taking pictures on his phone. And I'm like, okay, like if you wanted a picture, just all you had to do was say that. Like, you don't have to. But okay, he's actually taking pictures. And then as he's putting his hand, on Shane's back, and he's like rubbing, and I'm just like, okay. And he's actually rubbing, Shane's back. And after they get off, Shane, he storms off. He's like, I can't stand this. Like, and guys, what's about to happen is my favorite scene in the entire show. Please argue with your mammy. Shane storms off. He gets into the bathroom. He checks under the stalls. He checks under the stalls just to make sure no one's there. He walks into the bathroom. He's at the scene. He's like, oh my gosh. And Ilya walks in behind him. And Ilya's just like, and Shane's just like, bro, what do you want from me, dude? You come here, you act like everything's normal. We haven't talked in months. And Ilya's like, I want you to come in and suck it. And Shane's like, you want me to do what? How about you come suck mine? And Ilya's like, and walks up to him and it's like, baby, say please. Like, if you want me to be on this dirty little floor, baby, say please. And so Shane's like, bro, please, bro, please. And it was like, what do you like? What? It's like, bro, please, bro, get on the dirty floor and bro, just like it, bro. Please, like, please. Mind you, tears rolling down his face, like tears in his eyes, he's, oh my gosh, show is sick. Oh my gosh, literally actual tears rolling down his face. And it was like, no. You say no to me? Like, she's like, what? He's like, what? He's not even angry. He's like, what? I'm here to say that. What are you talking about? What? Stand up, Shane. Come on. Okay? So then basically it was like, if I win, then I'll, suck you, do whatever you want. I'll bend it over, smack him in the back. I'll do whatever you want. If I win, I get whatever I want, basically. And they kiss, and then it's tea, and then blase. So then we're at Ilya's room. Shane's like, well, so what do you want? Because obviously Ilya won, because tired. Can he stop getting what he wants? Shoot. He has big plans, and baby, all them plans come true that night. So afterwards, they're just sitting on the bed, drinking vodka, Shane's little treat. And it's kind of ox. And Ilya's like, whoa, I'm tired. And Shane's like, oh, well, maybe I should go. And Ilya's like, yeah. And then Shane just leaves. And as he's leaving, he's getting on the elevator. He's typing, when am I going to see you again? He's like, no, I'm not going to type that. And then he types again. We didn't even kiss. We didn't even what? Bro, take it back right now, bro. Bro, take it back right now. What do you mean? And I literally had to watch that scene back over again. Because I was like, wait a minute. They didn't even kiss. I actually went into cardiac arrest after that. Because what do you mean you didn't even kiss? And he literally deleted the message. One thing that hurts me is a deleted message. Because baby, send that. Because send that we didn't even kiss. Anyways, that's the end of episode 2. Guys, episode 3 is heavy. Because basically what you have to do is forget everything you saw for the first 2 episodes. Forget everything you ever saw. But right now, none of it is important because we're getting Scott and Kip. Scott and Kip technically were the first book in the Game Changers series because, of course, the show is based off a book. I read it. It was tea. I loved it. I love Scott and Kip's story, and I think everyone should get on the skip train. Everyone should get on the skip train right now, okay? We're starting off at one of the points that I mentioned earlier at the Sochi Olympics, okay? Where, Scott Hunter, he had a cheeky little lunch with Shane. I don't think I mentioned that, actually. Oh, no, I did mention it. I mentioned it when I said how his teammate Vani was talking about the gay people with their gay people stuff and figure skating in Russia being not safe for gay people. That's where we're at right now. As he's saying that, as his teammate is saying that, the stuff about the gay people, of course, Scott is in there like, heavy, because, obviously. And then, so 4 months prior to this February of 2014, we start the skip story. And it's basically Scott's on a cheeky little run, he's and then as he's running, he sees this little what is it, a little smoothie shop, okay? He sees his little smoothie shop. He goes in, and the barista's asleep, and he's like, the barista wake up like, ooh, and then we have Kip. Kip is our little barista, not a barista, smoothie barista. I don't know what smoothie makers are called, but he works at the smoothie place. He's like, oh my god, what can I get you? Scott's like, whatever. And then basically Kip recommends him this banana blueberry shake. Okay, he's like, it's a blueberry shake. He's like, well, I add bananas. And then Scott's like, yeah, go ahead, add some bananas to mine. And the banana talk get real weird. The banana talk get real weird up in here, but it's okay. I like it. It's super silly. Kip makes his little cheeky little smoothie, and Kip gives Scott the smoothie, and Scott's like, here's your big tip, and Kip's like, no, I don't no, maybe there's tension. He's like, see you later, Kip. And Kip is like, Kip's coworker behind him's like, girl, like. And then this dude comes in afterwards like, yo, was that Scott Hunter? Yo, dude, was that Scott Hunter? Yo, that's crazy, dude, that was Scott Hunter. Kip is like, ah. And then the coworker behind him is like, girl, yes, go get you. Yes. Also, that coworker that's behind like Kip her name's Maria, I believe. Maria, don't quote me. And later that night, he's at the bar. He would late night reminiscing, like he like, yo, that, like, you know the feeling of holding on to an interaction that you had, and you're like, that's never gonna happen again. It was the best interaction that I've ever had in my life, and you just have to reminisce. He's doing that with his friends. He's like, bro, like, why should came into my job, and he said my name, and his coworker Maria is like, baby, like, he wanted you bad. And like all his other friends that are at this bar, I'm pretty sure it's a gay bar. It's like a sports bar, but it's like a gay bar. No, like, bro, like, are you putting on hockey on the TV? And we see Scott playing, and Kip's like, bro, yeah, like, just putting on the game, like, just putting on the game and fine shit, like, yes. And I guess that night Scott wins his game, so he comes back to Strawberry, which is the smoothie place, gets him another smoothie. He's like, well, I gotta repeat it, because like, obviously something went right. Kip, like, yes. Kip is geeked. Kip is geeked because he's like, at this point, I could be like, you want me bad. Like, you want me bad, dude. Like, obviously. Scott comes back a third day in a row. And so at this point, it's like, who gonna tell him? Who gonna tell Kip he getting sharked on right now? Like, Kip's like, back again? And their conversation is so like awkward, but it's so cute and so wholesome, and it hits a good part of my brain, and I really like that. Scott drinks in this time and is basically like, will you come to my game tonight? Don't go home. Come to my game, we'll have so much fun. Kip's like, yeah. Kip brings his friend Elena, who I guess works at this big company. She's like, oh, these seats are better than my company gives us. And you know the company I worked at, they give us good seats. He's like, yeah, because they're his tickets. Like, and Elena's like, okay. Scott waves to him from the ice, and he's like, hey, fine shit. Hey, fine shit. Like, Kip's even watching the games at home. Like, he's watching away games at home, and just even with his dad, and his dad's like, okay, I'm gonna sleep now, and Kip's like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna stay up and watch the game. And his dad's like, okay, if you're worried about the scholarship, you're gonna get that scholarship. And Kip's like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, the next day, Kip is rushing to this gig that he has at this very important gala thingy. He's like, I cannot be late. And his dad's like, bruh, your suit's in my closet, calm down. And Kip is rushing because he's a server, of course. His friend hands him a plate. He's like, baby, you're okay, just go out there, hurry up. So he goes out there hurrying up. As soon as he exits out of the double doors, bumps into someone, spills all the food over them. He's like, bro, I'm so sorry. Baby, why is it Scott Hunter? Scott Hunter's like, no, baby, you're okay. After they get, I guess, everything cleaned up, Kip, goes back inside, grabs another tray, is going around with it, and Scott comes up to him, like, you wanna go get Mexican food? And Kip's like, yeah, can you wait until after I'm done? Scott's like, yeah. After Kip's shift, Scott's waiting for him. They go to the Mexican place, line's too long. Scott's like, bro, let's go back to my place, we can order in. And Kip's like, yeah, of course, let's order in. So they make it to Scott's place. Kip's like, oh, baby, that place is nice. They ain't gonna order or nothing, dude. And so once they're inside, like, Kip's like, oh, guys, like, what place are we? I think I see some looking at me through that window. Why is Scott's shirt off? And Scott's like, so you want now or? He's like, or, and basically pounces on that, because maybe when my shit says dump, you say how high. Okay? So Kip is in there. He's in there. Okay? Automatically. Off the bat. Don't play. Never played. Will never play. After they do their little do, Kip trying to like, he putting on his pants, trying to leave. Scott's like, baby, where you going? Can you just stay? And Kip's like, oh, yeah. Now that you mentioned it, I didn't even know that was an option. Yeah, I'll stay. And then, they sleep together. So I guess later that morning or later the next day, Scott wakes up alone. And he's like, but he hears a blender. Oh my God, Scott. Kip's still here. Oh my gosh. Like, Scott walks out. And Kip's like, oh my gosh, I was trying to make you, the smoothie because, and I was going to leave and go get you one, but then I saw you already had the ingredients and I'm so sorry. And Scott's like, baby, like, thank you. And, shows him how thankful he is. After that, they sitting at the table and Scott's basically like, I'm about to lay it on you real thick right now. But I would like it if you are here when I come home tomorrow. And I would like it if you are here for the rest of my days. Because I don't usually allow myself to indulge, but I really, 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 really like you. So let me have this little one thing. I'm a very important person, but like, I want to have this one thing. Can I have this one thing? And Kip's like, okay. yeah, I'll stay. Scott is elated. He's like, oh my gosh, wait, what's up? Also, their communication is so team. Shane and Ilya can never. Dude. But that's okay. That's okay, because we like to have different mediums, okay? Days that Kip works, baby, Scott is still coming in for that smoothie. Like, he never played. Like, he's like, yes, this is my good luck charm. I need my smoothie. Give me my smoothie. Kip's coworker Maria was like, and Kip's like, no. He's telling all his friends, even at the gay bar, he's telling all his friends, no, that's not my man, mind you. You keep playing his games, mind you. You keep like, it's not consistent, but okay, sure. Mind you, everyone knows that Kip is gay. Nobody knows that Scott is gay. And basically, Scott and Kip are living their domestic boyfriend lives for so long. Like, they're geek. Like, they love being together, okay? And it honestly seems healthy for a time. One day, Kip is on his computer looking at his favorite artist, and Scott's like, oh, like, I should buy some art. And Kip's like, for real? Really? Okay. And Scott's like, yeah, we should go to this showing. And Kip's like, for real? Scott's like, yeah, like, let's go. And so they go, and we see that, of course, Scott is in full disguise, sunglasses, hat, jacket, like, he covered up, and he like this, like, he like, mind you the one who said we could come out and we should go out, and I didn't, that wasn't me. And so while Scott and Kip are out, they're looking at a piece. Como se dice, Scott runs as soon as someone comes up and asks them, do they need any help? So if 2 and then 3 plus and then 5. Okay. So once they're home, Kip's like, and Scott's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought I could do it. And Kip's like, no, baby, it's okay. Like, but you can tell Kip is kind of thrown off. And I think we would all be thrown off in that moment because what is happening? Wordlessly, they keep going on with their little domestic life. Kip sends in his grad school applications. He's still working at the little smoothie shop. As Scott has an away game, Kip gives him these socks. They're so cute. They're like the cutest socks ever. They have little bananas on them because the banana smoothie, they're blue. They got a banana smoothie because it's blueberry, banana, and they're cute, and they're socks. And Kip got them for Scott. Basically, Scott wears them as his little good luck charm. Elena's telling her friend Kip, hey, baby, you're in love. And Kip's like, what? Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm not in love. I don't even know what love is. Elena's like, I know you dating Scott. Kip's like, what? Why would I? He's like, yeah. And gives her the rundown. And she's like, yo, at that gala, I'm finna run him down. Because basically, there's this charity gala thing that Kip is going to be Elena's date at. And Scott is also going to be there. So at said gala, Elena and Kip enter together. Scott's there as well. There's a little ox. Elena's like, I'm gonna grab y'all a drink, because anyways. And then Elena comes back and she's like, baby, come dance with me, to Scott. She's like, Scott, come dance with me. And they dancing. And Elena's like, you know he's miserable, right? Like, oh, okay. Okay, wait, I didn't know that, but now I do. Yeah, okay. So what do you mean he's miserable? And she's like, well, he's miserable. Are you ever going to? And Scott's like, I can't, like, I have too many people depending on me. I have some on me, and then me, you know? He deserves sunshine. Like, baby, that's my best friend. He deserves sunshine. But so do you. Like, you both deserve to be out in the limelight, to be able to be yourselves. And you guys cannot have that right now. But I think you should make it possible to where you can both have that. Okay? Okay. And with that, Elena leaves Scott just doing his thoughts. Later that night, as Scott is like leaving in his limousine, he stops by this little alleyway to pick up Kip. During that moment, I was really like, oh, I understand it now. Because now it's like, I think a lot of people could argue, oh, you know, Kip, why, you know, you knew who you were getting in a relationship with. But if you're picking me up in an alleyway, oh no, dude. Like, I done got into some stuff I was not ready for. I'm happy to be myself, and I like being myself out in public, but I don't like the fact that I have to, you know, hide myself when I'm with you. And so then later that night, Kip brings up to Scott, he's like, well, I'm having my birthday party at this little, like, it's this little bar, this little sports bar. It's also technically a gay bar, but, you know, like, it's just gonna be my friends, and you can come as my friend, and you know, it's gonna be okay. And Scott's like, well, no, maybe in a few years we can do that, but I just can't handle that right now. And Kip's like, I think it really settles in for him. He's like, well, I can't do this, actually. Kip's like, I'm gonna go home tonight. We'll figure it out from there, but I'm going home tonight. Kip goes home. He cries in his dad's arm, and it's super sad, and it's the worst thing I've ever seen. And I've never felt worse for a person. Like, oh, I felt so bad for him in that moment. But I also felt so bad for Scott, because imagine being like, I don't let myself have anything, but I want to allow myself to have this one thing, which is you, Kip. Just for that to be taken away from you, like, ooh, the universe is evil, baby. Also hear about the speech that Scott gave at that charity gala. Scott was basically saying, you know, both of his parents were like hockey coaches. They died in an accident. You know, this foundation gave him everything. And, you know, we see it's like, oh, there's layers to this. Like, it's not just like one dimensional. There's so many other people's feelings that we have to take into account with everything, with every thought that we have. So it's deep, okay? It's deep. On Kip's B-Day night, Scott's not there, but Kip's at the bar where he said he would be. He's with his friends having a beautiful time. They're singing happy birthday. And then out through the window, it pans out and we see that Scott is watching Kip have a wonderful time and, you know, just be out and be himself. And I think that really like hits Scott deep. It's like, wow, I couldn't even really be there for my man, but my man looks so beautiful in that moment. But yeah, that's the end of episode 3. And I might have to make this a 2-parter because I've yapped too much, or I might have to re-record this entire video. Who knows? But if you like this, you guys are forced to watch the second part. Thank you.